Ladies and gentlemen, COVID has accelerated adoption of digital commerce across geographies. With this shift in consumer behavior, brands have an even pronounced need to have high relevance in their communication with consumers. Commerce advertising thus is seeing a massive uptake. Mr. Sankap Mehrotra, MMA India board member, Senior Director of Monetization of Flipkart Ads, will give us more clearly about the rise of commerce advertising. Please welcome him.
Hello, Vietnam. Thanks a lot for having me over. My name is Sankalp and I manage monetization at Flipkart. I'll keep my presentation down to 10 or 15 minutes and try to land a couple of key points about the rise of commerce advertising and how it is really turbocharging growth for brands. There are only two or three key things that I would like you to take away from today's discussion. The first is the growing scale of commerce advertising across geographies. Then we'll explore a couple of reasons why it is growing and how it is growing. And the last section is really about how brands can seize this entire shift. I think for everyone who's listening in, I don't need to say it, right? But we all know that digital is the future, right? It is still instructive to look at how quickly and how fast it is growing across geographies. Whether you look at developed countries or developing economies, the growth is unprecedented. Last year, the total ADEX in US was about $270 billion. 55 to 60% of this was on digital. In China, 86% of the $130 billion ADEX was on digital. Now, even when you look at a developing geography like India, digital is rising at an unprecedented pace. It is expected to be 50% of the ADEX by 2025. I, however, think that it will be faster because of the entire digital adoption that has been fueled by COVID. Another important dimension to also understand is that when you look at developed geographies, again, if I were to look at the US, anywhere between 1.1 to 1.5% of the GDP is spent in advertising. In India, that number stood at about 0.5% last year. Vietnam, I guess, would have similar numbers. Essentially, the headroom for growth is really tremendous. Now, let us look at what is happening with commerce advertising. In US, close to 20% of what was spent on digital was on commerce ads, which makes the market to be anywhere between 23 to 25 billion dollars. China is even ahead. Nearly $33 billion last year was spent on commerce advertising. Which brings us to ask, are these two the only example? Or is this kind of movement happening also in economies where the scale of e-commerce is not as large like the US or China? If I were to again look at India, the commerce advertising market was anywhere between 600 to 800 million dollars, which actually is equivalent in size to what is being reported on video and on search. And we expect this number to grow at double the pace of 30% at which digital is growing in the country. I think overall commerce advertising in India might be anywhere between 3 to 4 billion by 2025. I think the key point that I'm really trying to leave you here with is that it doesn't matter whether you look at developed economies, it doesn't matter whether you look at developing economies. Commerce advertising is here and now, and it is already large enough to be building your brands at scale. Now let's move to the second section on what really sets it apart. I think the first thing which I'll spend a couple of minutes on is really looking at the verticalization of search. Our behavior as users has been changing fundamentally. Today, our searches are getting more and more fragmented. Now, if you want to look for food, and I think Vietnam, maybe you'll go to a Grab Food. If you're thinking about music, you'll go to a Spotify. And when it comes to product searches, you'll perhaps go to a Shopee or a Lazada. And this behavior change that I'm talking about, which is this entire verticalization and fragmentation of search, is manifesting itself in very, very large numbers now. In the US, close to 70% of product queries have already migrated to commerce platforms. In India, that number is near 30%, and it is set to grow to 50% in the coming 2 or 3 years. As users are migrating, so will the brands. Let me now touch upon a couple of other dimensions that are propelling this growth. There are a few key things that are happening in the environment, right? Income levels, with a few disruptions that happened because of COVID, have been rising. Customers have a need to have a wide selection of goods, fast deliveries, and a safe environment to be shopping in. And all of these are ingredients that are really fueling shopping online. Now, if I look at any scaled platform, let's say any social platform or video, etc., yes, I agree that the number of users there is still more and the number of shoppers is less. But commerce customers are digitally savvy. They're obviously comfortable with online shopping and perhaps even more empowered economically. Another important dimension to consider is the ability of commerce platforms to understand customer intent deeper than what most other platforms can. Now, this understanding is typically built by turning multiple user actions into actionable insights and ensuring that the messaging at every user level is highly contextualized. And last but not the least is the kind of ROI that commerce advertising can deliver. Users typically begin their journeys via search or maybe any other way, right? And are able to conclude them on a single platform. Now, given that most of these users are already favorably predisposed to shopping, the ROI that brands tend to get on commerce platforms is far higher than what you get on traditional digital advertising platforms. Now, see, for any brand, if you think about their communication objective and strategy, they'll typically have two or three kind of challenges that they are trying to address. They'll have certain business goals, they'll have certain brand goals, and they'll have certain consumer goals. With all the insights that commerce platforms have available, you can really dive deep into each of these challenges and create very, very actionable insights. Let me dive a little deeper, right? If you really think about it, and I'm talking from a commerce platform lens, we can break brands up into four archetypes, right? And the elements, or if you were to think of this as a framework in which you want to cluster your brands, you need to think of brands in the share of sales that they get via e-commerce, the share of digital spends that they have, and the share of commerce spends that they have. And if you look at these 3 points, you'll be able to cluster brands in four broad cohorts. There are brands which are majorly offline. And I think an example would be the likes of P&G, right? There are brands that are emerging online. Samsung will be that brand. If you think of brands that is already a significant digital brand across geographies, fashion is one of the largest segments when it comes to e-commerce. So a brand like a Puma would be a significant digital brand. And then there are D2C and digital first brands. Boat is a beautiful example of an insurgent brand that has come in and really shaken up the entire audio category. Now, across all of these four archetypes, the share of e-commerce sales, overall digital spends, and share of commerce advertising is growing exponentially. Digital first brands and D2C brands will have more than 50% of their marketing dollars on commerce platforms. And not just brands, but commerce advertising works wonderfully for hundreds and thousands of sellers and SMBs who are able to surface their selection to millions of customers and grow their business. If I were to just zoom out a little, right, there are certain changes that are happening because of COVID, right? There are categories which are witnessing a one-time growth spurt, which are categories like handsets, electronics, appliances. There are categories that are seeing continued acceleration, grocery, household item, personal care products, and more. And there are categories which are rebounding. It will be categories like fashion and travel products. Now, grocery in particular has witnessed a massive surge versus pre-COVID forecast. Hence, brands which might even be traditionally or majorly offline today are adopting to commerce advertising in a disproportionate way. Let me move to the last section really on how brands can seize this entire shift. Now, again, I'll take a step out and talk a little about the environment, right? Shopper journeys typically varies widely by categories. Now, the role of voice, the role of vernacular, the role of video in online shopping is expanding. Voice and vernacular will be very, very important, especially in a heterogeneous market like India, to attract the next generation of online shoppers. And consumers are increasingly opting for digital payments and credit to complete their online purchases. All of these are things that are happening, across multiple countries, right? These would be standard changes that are happening across geographies, right? Now, let me just dive a little deeper on what happens when, with these kind of changes, users come to commerce platforms. They take a lot of actions. They search, they browse through multiple product categories, add goods to cart, use multiple payment methods, and take many more such actions. How commerce platforms stand differentiated is their ability to churn all of these actions into insights that allow advertisers to connect better with their customers. And that really is the core differentiator of any commerce platform and commerce advertising. Now, most commerce platforms again would thrive in their ability to hyper personalize their communication. I'll take an example of us, I'll take an example of Flipkart. It is a constant endeavor to deliver better merchandising and better recommendations for our customers, right? And I dare say every customer of Flipkart gets a different experience. Now, the engine that we use to create this one on one connection is the engine that we use to drive our advertising to. What I'm essentially trying to say is brands have the ability to hyper personalize their communication using very, very deterministic signals versus probabilistic signals that they will get on other digital platforms. I think one more key change that is happening is that consumer journeys are not linear anymore, right? Behavior across categories is very, very different. I mean, if I were to think of electronics as a category, shoppers will browse through 10 product pages on an average before they add any product to their cart. If I were to think of search behavior on handsets and audio, it will be very brand specific. Samsung phone, Xiaomi phone, right? But when you think of categories like large appliances, it will be very product specific. Double door refrigerator, uh, washing machines, etc. It becomes very, very product specific. And it is thus very important that as consumer journeys are getting more and more non-linear, you need to have inorganic interventions that are really blended as a part of this journey at multiple parts of the shopping funnel. Now, all customer journeys begin in awareness and end in advocacy. Typically, digital platforms are able to address one part of this journey, or maybe there are a few examples that can address more than one. Whereas when it comes to commerce platforms, you are able to create meaningful interactions irrespective of which part of the funnel your customer is in. Now, once you have deployed your marketing strategy, you need to understand deeper on how your dollars are working. Most commerce platforms will have reporting engine that will tell you clicks, CTRs, attribution, and all of those metrics, right? These are all typically what are the said need of brands. However, every brand has an unsaid need too. Brands want to know how their awareness is moving with respect to category and competition. Brands wish to understand how their consideration is. Let me talk to you a little about awareness. There are multiple proxies that are available to actually see the awareness of any brand on any platform. It could be things like users searching for you. It could be users clicking on your ad. It could be users adding product to carts. All of this can be subsumed under the awareness bucket. When I think about consideration, users after reaching product pages can take multiple actions. They can be up to 20 or 30 actions that any user can take after reaching the product page. And these can all be churned into a consideration score that allows you to understand how your funnel is looking. I think how commerce platforms stand differentiated is their ability to build such insights that really allow brands to see which part of the funnel is their performance flagging and what corrective action do they need to take to increase their velocity. I'm on my last slide now, and my summary of the presentation would really be 3 points. The first is commerce advertising is already large enough to be building a brand at scale. It doesn't matter which geography you are in, it doesn't matter what kind of a scale of brand it is. Commerce advertising is significant enough to drive growth for you. The second is that the kind of levers that you have available at your disposal end up delivering far better results than traditional platforms. And last but not the least is the kind of insights that you get allow you to build a very virtuous cycle that make your monies work harder. That's all from me. Thank you, MMA, for having me over. It was my pleasure to speak to you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sankat Mehrotra, for your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that all of you have had a wonderful experience with MMA Impact Vietnam 2021 for like 2 days. A lot of exciting information and hundreds of numbers reviewed that may have your marketing plan. Once again, we would like to thank all of you. Thank you so much. Và thưa các anh chị thân mến, như vậy là chúng ta cũng chuẩn bị kết thúc cho ngày thứ hai của MMA Impact năm 2021. Và thực sự tới giờ này thì không muốn nói lời chia tay với mọi người chút nào. Chúng ta đã đồng hành 2 ngày cùng với nhau với rất nhiều những cung bậc cảm xúc và rất nhiều những thông tin hữu ích dành cho các anh chị, đúng không ạ? Nhưng mà chúng ta phải nói lời chia tay thôi. Và ngay bây giờ Thanh Giang xin phép được mời chị Phan Bích Tâm, Country Manager MMA Vietnam, Myanmar and Cambodia sẽ có một bài phát biểu để kết thúc 2 ngày vừa qua của chúng ta. Xin mời chị Bích Tâm.
Cảm ơn MC Thanh Giang rất là nhiều. Và tất cả quý vị thân mến, bản thân Bích Tâm và MMA Việt Nam vô cùng tự hào chào đón tất cả quý vị tham gia cùng sự kiện ngày hôm nay. Có thể nói trong 2 ngày qua, chúng tôi biết rằng tất cả các anh chị đã dành rất nhiều thời gian cho chương trình. Và chúng tôi rất là biết ơn những tương tác, những sự theo dõi của tất cả các anh chị và các bạn. So I must say we are so lucky to welcome more than 5,000 attendees during 2-day sections and a tons of endorsement in the media by more than 30 official partners as well. Chúng tôi đã có hơn 30 đối tác đồng hành cùng với sự kiện để chia sẻ nhiều hơn về sự kiện của chúng ta. Và đó có thể nói là một sự đóng góp vô cùng to lớn và bản thân Bích Tâm và MMA vô cùng biết ơn. Again, the 10 MMA Impact Vietnam helped to bring the marketing community as much as informative as we can. Huge thanks to the board and MMA Vietnam members one more time. Look forward to seeing you again at the Smart Tuesday World 2021 in November. And please keep you updated by visiting the MMA Vietnam fan page regularly. Và một tin quan trọng nữa Bích Tâm muốn chia sẻ trước khi chúng ta kết thúc chương trình ngày hôm nay, đó là ngoài tất cả những thông tin mà chúng ta đã nhận được trong 2 ngày qua, chúng tôi vô cùng biết ơn tất cả những diễn giả để dành thời gian trong khoảng hơn 1 tháng qua để đóng góp và xây dựng chương trình, cũng như sự nỗ lực từ tất cả những nhà tài trợ và những đối tác của chúng tôi. Một điều quan trọng đó là giải thưởng Smarty Việt Nam năm 2021 sẽ diễn ra vào trong tháng 11 này. Chắc chắn đó là một tin tốt đẹp mà tất cả các anh chị có tên trong shortlist từ rất là mong đợi, phải không ạ? Và đó, chúng tôi muốn chia sẻ rằng là kênh MMA Việt Nam fanpage đó là một cái kênh mà chúng tôi cập nhật rất là thường xuyên về chương trình. Vậy tất cả các anh chị và các bạn hãy tiếp tục cập nhật thông tin tại fanpage của MMA Việt Nam nha. Và bây giờ thật sự là bản thân Bích Tâm vô cùng tự hào tất cả các anh chị và các bạn ạ. Tại vì trong 2 ngày qua thì cái sự tham gia của tất cả các anh chị và các bạn đã mang lại những trải nghiệm tuyệt vời cho tính team của MMA Việt Nam. Thật ra trong tương lai chúng tôi mong muốn sẽ mang lại nhiều những sự kiện tương tự như vậy để chúng ta có thể chào đón một khối lượng attendees, delegates nhiều hơn cho cả cộng đồng marketing ở thị trường Việt Nam. Và bây giờ Bích Tâm rất là có thể nói là rất là buồn khi mà phải nói lời chia tay với MC Thanh Giang cũng như với tất cả mọi người. Thank you again to our speakers and partners. Thank you so much, Meet MC Thanh Giang, for today's events. So right now, have a nice evening and wish you all the best. So please stay safe and healthy with your family. Và bây giờ không có điều gì khác hơn, Bích Tâm mong muốn tất cả chúng ta hãy có khoảng thời gian tuyệt vời cùng bên gia đình. Thank you so much and goodbye. Jessica from MMA Việt Nam.
Thank you. Và Thanh Giang cũng xin chúc cho tất cả các anh chị chúng ta sẽ có thật nhiều sức khỏe và bình an, và hy vọng là chúng ta sẽ sớm gặp lại offline các anh chị nhé. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại.